Hello there, it's not Purple here. I just wanted to do a quick recap of what it's like being new to PokeMMO. I would say I've just finished the early game of PokeMMO, just finished all of the storylines. I'm at 186 hours. If you look here, got my first shiny after 12k encounters, currently at 3.5k. So I'd be quite lucky in my experience. Very happy with that. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly cover everything that I've done, go over the bits that I've liked, bits that I've not liked as much with this game. But overall, I've been really enjoying this game. You don't put, although in PokeMMO terms, not a lot of hours, but 168 hours is relatively quite a lot of hours to put into one single game, unless you enjoy it. So yeah, just wanted to go over everything that I've kind of managed to do. So if we just look now into my PC, obviously having just finished all of the storylines, I've got a lot of random mons. Hoenn was the last one that I did. That was the team that I went through the E4 with. Kind of skill link, cloister, easy to use. I've also been using the Moxie Crocodile through previous stories as well. I've got a few cloisters. Obviously, as they get to the level cap, can't use them again. Got my sturdy mon, Stealth Rocks, for those kind of sashes and other sturdy mons. But then if I go into my box 3, this is where I've got a few Pokemon investments. So what I've been doing is, as I see a swarm pop up in Petrowski's Discord server, I'll quickly look over to the price of whatever the alpha is at that time. And if its going price is decently high enough, if it's in a decent egg group, I'll then set a kind of barrier as to the minimum or the maximum that I'm willing to pay, and try and buy up as many of those as I possibly can, and then at a later date hopefully flip them, which I have been doing with these Ambipoms. Not quite yet with the R-Box, probably a waste of money with those, but we'll have to wait and see. And then obviously Friskmon, I've got the Flame Body, Teleport, Sweet Scent with a bit of the Surf, just a general Utilmon, Dig and Arena Trap for when I was farming Meowths. Yeah, so that I could kind of trap the Abras that were there. So that's kind of not got too much as far as holdings, but that's not really been my goal as of late. It's mostly been flipping to get money, as well as playing through the storylines. So going into my GTL, I've got a few templates set up. The Ambipom one at the moment is just set for male alpha Ambipoms, just to see their price, so that I can put mine up. So currently I've got this one up for 53,999. I've just sold a couple at that price. All of these I bought for under 46k, some way cheaper than that, so making a decent bit of money on that. Also, yeah, it's not quite on there. Where I've been training for these storylines, I've been using the Frisk kind of thief from Stantler against the Heatmores below the Unova Elite Four. So as I've been training, I've also been gaining Flamors from that. I've currently got 14 in holding, which I will eventually sell. I'm kind of waiting for Stantler to get to level 100 so I can also sell him at the same time and make a general profit off of that. But obviously, being a new player, testing and adjusting, not been perfectly perfect when it comes to flipping or selling anything. I've tried breeding for profit. For mixed, I've used Squirtles, a Rotom currently out there. That's the Stantler, previous Frisk Stantler that I had. I think I've put this one up for too much. The one beforehand I put for 120,000. It sold instantly. So yeah, it's just finding and adjusting, as well as other mons. The level 100 Garchomp again. I think I've got these up too high, but that'll come with time. I'm quite happy with how much I've managed to make. Currently sitting at just over £1 mil, as well as having invested in a few golden anniversary crates, chests. Been buying those up slowly over time. They're currently sitting at about 140k, 146k, 147 now. So putting money into those, buying every now and then. I've not been focusing solely on it. Having a little bit of a cash stack is also kind of nice. So I've, yeah, been going through that. But what I have been doing to make sure I can track all of this is moving over to the Excel, tracking kind of prices that I want to be spending on things, as well as like other bits of util, trying to calculate how much profit I would make for example, on this Meowth, if I were to just buy it, it would be 140,000, whereas if I take the adamant attack 2IV, whatever it breaks down, if it's the adamant attack, adamant speed, breeding with a 2x31 ditto, or if female Meowth, for instance, if I just scroll across, yeah, female Meowth and 2x, and then I would just bring all of these prices together, find out how much it would cost in total versus how much it would be just to buy it, and try and calculate what would be the best price to breed. Another example would be this. It's got a little bit more information on it. So again, if I were to just buy it outright, it would be 135 at the time. Went through each individual aspect of it, and then this bit down here, if you take this, so this would be the price of the two breeders combined together, adding how much it would cost for the nature and the band, as well as the listing fee. Added all together, it would be 160k. So going with the male Meowth and a female Meowth wouldn't be viable, and then any that pop up in green end up below the price of the 134. So I would just see the cheapest one of these, highlight over. So if I got the Meowth 2x31 female and a random field 1x31 attack male, but with the adamant nature, those two combined together plus all of the bands would end up being 110k, which is obviously a profit. So yeah, that's how I've been kind of going over which ways to breed, how to breed, breaking it down a little bit. Easier for me personally to visualize. But yeah, if I scroll down, I've got quite a lot of notes. Down here at the bottom was a little bit of ditto flipping. I wanted to see how much it would be worth it to kind of go over. I did roughly an hour of ditto flipping here. So that's all of the dittos that I bought, how much I sold them for, how much the listing fee was. So in roughly an hour, I made 150k. So I was actually relatively pleased with that. Quite happy. That wasn't, obviously, still quite new to the flipping. Missed a lot of buys, lost a few to other fast flippers, but as you can see on these bottom ones here, at these prices, that's 1x31 attack or speed, modest or adamant dittos that were up for their regular prices minus the nature. So I was able to kind of scoop those up, sell them for the much higher price, and that's where a lot of my profit came from during that time period. But getting those, I have found that was a lucky hour for me, getting 5 of those. Those get scooped up very quickly at the moment. But yeah, so that's kind of what I used at my basic kind of early level when it came to breeding, when it came to flipping. If I move on to the alpha flips, so all of the ambipoms that are in there, so as I bought them, I wrote down their price here, and I have currently sold those ones here, minus one of them that's currently up there, but that's hopefully what they'll eventually sell for, and I've still got the ones below it for sale. And then this line at the bottom is how much I spent on them. So I spent about 900k, which was basically my entire net worth at the time, on the cheaper ambipoms. This second one is the listing fee that I would end up paying, having these prices auto-generate these listing fees, the money that I would make through selling them, and then the profit that I would make based on everything that's currently up there. So if everything sells at these prices, which it kind of looks like they're probably going to sell for a little bit more, I've got 53k down. My current ones at the moment have been selling for about 54. So that this number will probably be a little bit higher, but that is 152 grand again, similar to the Ditto flipping, but that was in much less of a time period. That was 20-30 minutes after getting the ping of the Alpha Swarm, just buying up for about 20-30 minutes until my money got quite low. So yeah, for the amount of work that I put in, it was much less effort. All you have to do is hold on to them for a couple of days for that supply to dry out again, and then slowly sell them off. I've been selling them off 3 at a time, just so I don't oversaturate the market with those. But yeah, so before flipping, I put in the base price of the male and the female, as well as what the listing fee would be if I were to get them up for that much, so that I can minus a certain amount. I minused 10k from that, so I was buying for a maximum of 147k. The average was about 45k. I got one for 23k, one for 35k, so those will be quite a significant flip when they eventually sell off. But yeah, so I would take what the base price was immediately after getting the ping through, which is roughly 57k at the time. I just minus 10k from that. I saw the base price for the females was 17k. There is obviously profit to be made within that, but it's a little bit less of a kind of wanted Pokemon, so I wasn't too focused on buying the females. Whereas the R box, the base price was 57 and 42, so again I just minused 10-15k, bought a few R box here, 26k, 25k, 21k, 22k is what it is. I don't think I'm going to get 40k for these. These haven't bounced back as much. As you saw on the GTL, they were about 27 to 30k at the moment. So I'm probably going to hold off a little bit longer before I sell those. But if these sell for, let's say, 35k, and if I just drag this all the way down, so for the 5-10 minutes that I put into buying those up, I would make 62k profit if I sold them all for 35. It's a little bit unrealistic if I sold them all currently at 30,000. I would only make about 30k profit total, kind of making it not as worth it. I would say I'd probably try and hold on for the 35k if possible, but within the next couple of days I'll just take whatever price is up there. But yeah, so that's the alpha flipping that I've been doing somewhat recently for the money making. Now that I've got a bit more cash on my hand, I first started looking at this with Crawdont. I only managed to buy a couple through, sold those off. They all sold. I didn't quite at the time have this set up to record each one individually, but I was roughly buying them for 25 to 35k, selling for about 35k. I don't know how much I was selling the males for at the time, but yeah, I did end up overall making a little bit of money off of that, and then kind of got the official setup ready for it. Another part that I've been tracking are my Friskmons. So I would breed up a Stantler, kind of calculate how much it would cost to breed up that Stantler and give it Earthquake, give it Thief. If the breed didn't get Frisk, I would have to ability pill it, which I have had to do each of the time at the moment, as well as the Everstone braces. This one ended up being a little bit more expensive at 160k to make it. The previous one I'd had before this, without the tracking altogether, sold for about 120k basically immediately, but so this one's from the 14th. So if I go down to the one that I've currently got, so the green one I put up for $250,000. This one's the one that's currently around level 87 at the moment. The cost to buy was considerably cheaper, well, not 10 grand cheaper, and so far it's generated me 14 flame orbs while training, which when sold at the moment would net me about 160k profit, which means just from having the Stantler I have made back 2 grand off of it without even selling the Stantler itself. If I go back up to the top one, so I got 18 orbs, 1 amulet coin and 9 light balls. They generated quite a bit of revenue for that. I do think this Stantler's going to end up getting put down to 200k, but even then that'll be 292,000 yen profit just from that. Obviously the time investment, I'm not sure on how much per hour, but just from having that, I needed something to train. I wanted a little bit of money on the side while I was training, so that's how I'm justifying that. And so recently I've also bred a backup because this Stantler's currently about 87. I want a backup to be at about 40, level 50 by the time this Stantler gets sold, so that I can just kind of keep the farming going. So again, about 140k on that. Onto the investments. At the moment, I have only been investing in the golden anniversary chests. I do have 7 of those. I spent roughly 150k per item, sitting at about a mil. So I've got a mil in investments, and I've currently got about a mil in cash, as well as quite a few things in my trade waiting to either not trade and then me pick them up for a lower price, as well as trade in general. So yeah, going over everything I've done: bit of investing, bit of flipping, item farming. I have had Breloom get to level 100 over a long period of time. That had sold for about 320k, just from it being sat in my party while running through the stories, gaining XP over time. A little bit of passive in the background, which was nice. I've done catching of both Meowth as well as Magikarp when I first started. As soon as I got to the 5th gym in Kanto, which was where I started, got into the Safari Zone and started catching Magikarps. Breeding for Squirtle, Meowth. The Squirtle was a little bit of a challenge for me. Obviously, I wasn't quite swept up on everything that needed doing as far as getting the correct moves onto it, and that process would take as much longer time and it'll cost a lot more. So I probably lost a bit of money on the Squirtle, but the Meowths themselves, getting them to level 100, getting them 31 attack, 31 speed, adamant with the correct EV spread. I've probably done about 5 or 6 Meowths. Each one sold for roughly 180k. So I'm quite happy with that. And then there's obviously beating the game itself, reliant on the Cloyster more than the Crook, as well as the Stealth Roxmon for the League. But yeah, so to be honest, I've quite enjoyed playing PokeMMO. I've had a really good time, really enjoyed playing it. My goals for the future, really want to start focusing on completing the decks. Going through, I've obviously not caught too many Pokemon, bought quite a lot of the GTL, but yeah, that's not been a focus of mine. That's just been kind of in the background. So yeah, that's one of my focuses now to get that. Another one for now that I'm out of the mid game, moving into early game, moving into the mid game, is to start investing a little bit more. My goal would be to have about 50 mil invested, and 5 mil in cash. I reckon that's roughly getting me out of the mid game. I want to look into berry farming, kind of get lepers going around, as well as building gym rerun team, and learning the strat for that to get a little bit more of an income coming in. I've not done any gym reruns, just been breeding and flipping and just beating the storylines. That's how I've made my money. So an actual proper efficient money making method of the gym reruns. I'm looking forward to building the team, going around learning the method, but making it become a little bit more second nature there. Another one is getting ocarinas. I feel like a mid-game kind of goal, investing in myself, investing in the time that I'm going to spend and the Pokemon that I'm going to have. I feel like ocarinas will become useful, so I can free up a few more of those party slots for the next thing that I would like to get, which is Utilmons. Catching Breloom and Smeargle and Damp Pokemon and other Frisk Pokemon like the Banette. Yeah, I kind of want to expand my Utilmons as much as possible, and that leads into the next one of getting more shinies. Really enjoyed. I obviously 12.5k, massively under odds. If I flip over to that Boufflant one, so I was at 1,000 Boufflants, way more Heatmores, I'm already at about 3k heat mores on this one, you can see. But yeah, within 1,000 Bouffalants of just training attack EVs, managed to get really lucky. 12k, 12.5k. Yeah, locked in the Bouffalant, really happy with that. But a focus for me would also be on the util mons, like getting Shiny Brilliant would be amazing. I know it's a rare hunt, and I've only just unlocked Hoenn, so now that I've finally got the game, I can go there, potentially start doing it, as well as Smeargle mons, Damp, Frisk, yeah, all the above. Swarm Pokemons, whatever I can, util mons, if I can get them shiny, beautiful. Another aspect that I haven't quite touched on too much is the community part of it. Yeah, I've made one friend on this game. Shout out Obones. We were both XP training in Heatmore, looking for potentially getting. He was potentially looking at that shiny. He was kind enough. We struck up a conversation. He was kind enough to allow me onto his XP charm. At that time, I was obviously broke, just kind of running through his story. We had a great chat. He allowed me onto it. It was good fun, and it was a part of this game that I'm really excited to now kind of delve into now that I've finished the storylines. Yeah, I want to take part in catch events, take part in any kind of shiny event that's going on, anything. I want to embrace this community as a whole. Everyone seems really kind, really welcoming. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, now that I've kind of got access to the game, diving into the game properly. Some negatives now for PokeMMO. The fact that I have to download or install a counter for encounters, an encounter counter, from an external site, baffles me. That this game has been out for 12 years now, and that they still don't have it embedded in the game from the get-go, baffles me. I can't say anything other than that's probably just laziness. That can't be too difficult to implement. I can't imagine it being anyway. They have all the data, they have all the resources. I genuinely can't see why they wouldn't have implemented that themselves. Yeah, that's quite a big downer for this game, and I think it would help a lot of people. Another thing that I don't hold against them too much, but obviously content in this game, it's slow to come out. That's the way it always will be. I'm not expecting more content. It's just a little bit of a downer that a lot of the content is waiting. That obviously they've got quite a small team. I'm not overly kind of critical of that, but it's just one of those where it's a little bit of a downside. But other than that, I didn't really think the difficulty of this game was too rough. It was obviously more difficult than a regular Pokemon game. I've dabbled in hardcore Nuzlocke-in of Kaizo and Run and Bun. Never really took to it too much. That level is a little bit too much of staring at spreadsheets and trying to figure out which moves to use at which Pokemon. Whereas this, I feel like the balance is perfect. It's enough of a challenge as well as not too difficult that you can't figure your own way out without having elite level expert level knowledge on which Pokemon to use. Just simply googling decent PVM Pokemon, finding out about Cloyster, finding out about the Moxie Pokemon. Yeah, I feel like the difficulty curve in this game is perfect. I think a lot of the UI works really well. The bag is a little bit janky, having to kind of scroll through, type through. Obviously you've got your medicine, your key items, what have you. I still am finding it a little bit difficult to kind of know where everything is at all times. Like if I wanted to just see my vanities, see my collectibles, there isn't a kind of side area for things that aren't regularly implemented in PokeMMO. Obviously potions, that's something that's in the base game. X items, something that's in the base game. The cosmetics, just another little patch just for where you can see all of your investments separate in your bag. I think personally would be quite a decent little addition, but again, all in all, the game plays really well. I've not dabbled into PvP too much, or at all, so that's something that I'm looking forward to getting into. But yeah, that has been my basic thoughts, my intro into finishing the early game and starting the mid game. I look forward to playing this game even more. And yeah, thank you for your time. Have a nice day.